everybody, so I am here today because I just recently saw the Scorch trials last night and I didn't get back until like 1 a.m. because I saw it at 10:20, which was not the smartest idea on a school night, but it was worth it, so I do not care. So I saw the Scorch trials and I will admit it's been a while since I read the book. I read the book about a year ago, right after the Maze Runner came out. And honestly I can't keep this video spoiler free, so if you haven't seen the Scorch trials yet or if you haven't read the book yet and you're kind of waiting to do that, then I would advise you to be careful and continue on from this point because I am going to talk a lot about what happened in both the book and the movie. So in my opinion, I'm going to prepare yourselves, brace yourselves now, because I am going to admit something that probably not a lot of people are going to like. I like the movie better than the book, and I've said it. There you go, that's my opinion. I like the movie better than the book, and here's why. Here are my reasons why. In the book, I feel like a lot of what kept me reading in the Maze Runner, what kept me wanting to know what happened, what kept the plot moving forward and kept the action going, was kind of disappearing in the Scorch trials because I felt like there were too many twists that the author kept trying to make happen. Like there was too many things that she kept hidden from the reader, and it made it hard for them to become invested because as much as we love the characters, so many new people were introduced and so many different things were introduced and different, players in the game, and just all of that ultimately kind of just took away from the substance of the story. It made it less about, the world and the situation they were in and more about the head games that were kind of going on. Obviously, I still enjoyed reading it, but what I love about the movie in comparison to the book is that these games, while they are still there, they aren't the central focus. So, for example, here comes a spoiler, guys. Skip over this if you don't want to hear it. But for example, like the whole conflict between Eris and Teresa and Thomas that happened in the book, and how basically they kind of hid their true intentions from him in the book, and how they kind of just manipulated him into thinking one way to see how, his brain worked, that sort of thing. Like, that didn't happen as visibly in the movies. Like, honestly, the way they did it was they left it up to where if they wanted to bring that back later on in the series, like in the next movie, they could. But it wasn't as dramatic, and it wasn't the central part of the story. The central part of the story was about survival. It was about these kids and the real world that they lived in and what their reality was and how difficult it was to survive. It was constantly action-packed, and it kept you invested the entire time. Like, there was not one time where I wasn't invested in what was happening or that I got bored in the movie, because it was just so packed with the story and just developing characters. Honestly, I feel like that's where the book lost me, because as much as it tried to be filled with action, it was more about the head games and more about the games that Wicked were playing. This movie was able to focus on Wicked and how they were still playing Thomas and everyone. The Cranks, oh my gosh, I loved the depiction of the Cranks in this movie. Like, they were terrifying. In the books, they didn't seem as terrifying to me because just like, you read it, you think of zombies, like that's it. But the movies were able to bring them so much more life and makes them terrifying creatures. Things that people would legitimately be scared of running into. I loved it. I loved the movie's depiction of them. I thought that was great. There was parts where I couldn't even watch because I was just like, nope, I know what's happening. I knew something's gonna pop out out of nowhere, and it did, and I just, they were so good though. Like, and props to like the stunt doubles who played them because they made it so realistic. I loved seeing the Scorch. I loved seeing the storms, and I loved seeing the weather changes, and I loved seeing how civilization continued in the Scorch. I loved Brenda. Brenda was probably my favorite character in this movie. I just thought she was just so amazing, and she had such an interesting backstory. I loved her relationship with Jorge because that isn't shown as much in the books. And then Jorge in general was he was the star. He was the guy who pulled through at the end. And another thing I really loved about the movies in comparison to the books is that when it comes to Teresa and the role that she plays in the second book, you can tell that the author is trying to make the reader not like her. Like it's almost forced that she's doing all these things. And in the first book, it's just like she was such a different character almost, but she's doing all these things that just are so out of character, and you could tell she's playing a game. But in the movie, it was much more natural. It was much more realistic. She was able to bring her own reasoning and her own beliefs into the decisions that she made. She was able to just make it so that it was realistic of her character to do these things. It was realistic of her character to act the way she did and make the decisions that she made. I just love how the actress was able to bring like that emotion to the character and make it feel like something that where it's like you don't like the actions that she did, don't like what she did to get to that point. You see it happening and you're just like, God, why are you doing this? But at the same time, you can understand from her view what she believes and why her experience has made her do this, where in the books you don't get that as much. But yeah, so honestly, I'm a big fan of the movie. I love the books. To be honest, the Scorch Trials, the first book in the Maze Runner series was amazing to me. The second one lost me a little bit, and in the movies I was able to keep with it the whole time because it was so much more action-packed, it was so much more driven and quick and realistic, and you see more of the world and how it's affected by the Scorch and how the cranks are and how people live day-to-day lives, and just you see more of the city and the ruin and the rubble. In my opinion, I think it was just so much better to see it, and I think that was where the books kind of lost me with. The book focused so much more on making the plot twist happen that it kind of lost the plot itself, whereas the movies focused more on the plot and they made subtle hints towards the plot twists that were going to happen. So that is my opinion of it. That is my movie review. I think it was amazing. I think it kept your attention the whole time. I think if you like the Maze Runner series in general, you're gonna at least be satisfied with the adaptation that they made of the Scorch Trials, and I can't wait for the third part. I can't believe that we're already waiting for the third part. I'm gonna have to definitely see it again. But yeah, that's all I got for today, guys. This is my first movie review I did, but I'm also trying to get a hold of The Martian so I can read it and then go see the movie and do a review on that, because I've heard it's really good and I'm really excited to see the movie, and Matt Damon looks like he's the perfect character to play it. There you go. I will talk to you guys later, but thanks for watching. Okay, bye.